What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be covering all of the 4 god rules from the Prophecy dungeon, because we got that nice roto in the Rite of the 9 with these released weapons. We got ourselves the Prosecutor, a Sudden Death, Relentless, and Judgment, so we're going to cover all their PvP, PvE god rules for you guys, starting with the origin traits on all of these weapons. First off, we got Crossing Over. This weapon has increased range and handling for the top half of the mag, while the bottom half of the magazine deals increased damage. Definitely very good for both PvP as well as PvE. The other one we got is this new Gravity Well origin trait that we're going to get on the Rite of the 9 weapons. In general, reloading this weapon automatically gathers nearby ammo. Definitely pretty solid for the PvE realm, especially if you're running out of ammo in your special or heavy ammo weapons. So starting us off with these god rolls, we're going to go over the Prosecutor Arc Auto Rifle. This thing absolutely daps up Guardians in the Crucible, so let's get into it with our magazine. For this, I'm going to go with Ricochet rounds, +5 to range, +10 to stability. With these, I'm going to be a little bit quicker than I was with the Spire of the Watcher weapons, so we're going to go with Keep Away as our first trait. Increase the reload range accuracy when no targets are in close proximity with this. Our second option is Zen Moment. Causing damage with this weapon reduces recoil and flinch over time, so both very good. I think I like Keep Away the most though. In the fourth column for this bad boy for PvP, we got ourselves Onslaught as my #1 option. At least final blows with this weapon increase its rate of fire, so this thing absolutely will dap up Guardians if you can get this to proc with that Keep Away. Your second best option, in my personal opinion, is the Target Lock. Damage is increased the longer this weapon remains on the target, so if you're not missing shots, Target Lock is very good. But I think for me, like I said, Ricochet with Keep Away as well as Onslaught is going to be your 5 out of 5 for the Crucible. Now, as for the PvE god roll for the Prosecutor, for me, I'm going to go with Appended Mag. Just feels the best. It gives us that +5 in our magazine as well. 2 options in the third column right here. First off is Dragonfly. Precision kills create an elemental damaging explosion. This is definitely my favorite and go-to for this weapon. Personally, for me, my second option is Eddy Current, because temporarily increases our reload and handling after we sprint or while we're amplified. This effect is improved when we are amplified, and we become amplified very easy with this weapon for one of the reasons that I'll show you in a second here, and just in general, Arc makes us amplified super quick on any of our subclasses, or Prismatic. Fourth column, we got 2 options for you, and I think a Volt Shot is going to be my #1 choice, especially when you pair it with Dragonfly, because all those defeats we're getting explosions with Dragonfly, and then Volt Shot reloading after those defeats gives us the ability to jolt targets on our next hit, so that right there is going to be a good way for us to get amplified, create a bunch of AoE damage when we're getting defeats as well as on our next targets. Rolling Storm is another one, and my second option, especially if you pair that with Eddy Current. Final blows grant us bolt charge, while amplified final blows grant additional bolt charges, and then we can get up to those max bolt charges, make ourselves amplified, and we can really get to running around with this thing, slapping Guardians out. So, or I should say PvE wise, slapping enemies out. That Dragonfly Volt Shot's my #1, but Eddy Current Rolling Storm is a very good second choice in my opinion. Our next weapon is the Sudden Death Void Shotgun. So this right here for our PvP god roll, we're gonna have Accurize in our magazine, so we can get that nice +10 to range, making this thing absolutely map Guardians. Third column, again, we got 2 options. For me, I'm a nerd for Slide Shot, so that's going to be my first one that you should go with. Sliding partially refills the magazine and boost our range and stability for this, so it's about 20 in range and 20 in stability, so again, allowing us to really map Guardians with this build. Your other option you could go with is Threat Detector. Increase reload stability handling when enemies are in close proximity, so we can get that handling stacked up to 100 actually when we have more than 2 enemies right next to each other and us, so switching on and off of it very quickly makes it really good to dap up Guardians on like an instant kill. Fourth column for us, we got 2 options. Again, for me, I'm gonna go with Closing Time as our #1 choice. Improves range accuracy handling as the magazine gets lower, and we're always gonna have that proc basically in the Crucible, because we're not gonna have more than 1, 2, maybe 3 shots at a time. So Slide Shot Accurize Closing Time is my 5 out of 5 in my opinion, but you could also go with opening shot because it is improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack. It's about 25 to range with that, and we do decrease that accuracy cone size, so it basically tightens up the spread, allowing it to have just a better recoil pattern, if you will. If so, it's just kind of dapping up Guardians, but like I said, for me personally, slide shot with closing time is what you should be looking for PvP. Now when we move on to PvE for a sudden death, I'm gonna go with actually 2 magazines. First one you got is a Assault magazine. It gives us +5 rounds per minute and a little extra stability, so we can really pump out damage with this thing. I personally think that this would be my go-to in our magazine though. And our other one is Tactical mag because we're gonna get reload speed and stability, so totally up to you if depending on how you want to use it, I guess, but for me, I like Assault mag more than Tactical. Third column for me, 2 different options. We got 1-2 punches. Our first one, hitting an enemy with every pellet increases melee damage for a short period of time, so you can get some really crazy DPS on some of those enemies, bosses, champions, etc. with it, especially if you're doing some crazy things with like Synthoceps, Assassin's Cowl, even something like Winter's Guile for Warlocks. You can get some pretty crazy things going on with this 1-2 punch. Your other option is Repulsor Brace. Defeating a void debuff target gives us an overshield, and of course we're going to have destabilizing in the 4th column as one of our options. So if you're looking for more ad clear potential, Repulsor Brace with destabilizing, or DPS wise, we got 1-2 punch with Trench Barrel. So like I said, with our 2 in the 4th column, first is that Trench Barrel. After a successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage handling and reload for a short period of time until 3 shots are fired. So basically with 1-2 punch, we're going to be able to do 3 shots melee, 3 shots melee, 3 shots melee, and it's absolutely going to chunk the health of some of our enemies that we got. And like I said, we got destabilizing as our other one to pair with Repulsor Brace. So this is going to create a void burst, which is going to 1, give us volatile rounds, as well as make enemies that the explosion hits volatile, so we can get all of that debuff going on and give us a bunch of overshield, helping us to stay alive. And it really does do well for ad clear potential, so totally up to you how you want this shotgun to play out. Definitely, I think the more universal role is probably going to be that Repulsor destabilizing, but if you build into one of those melee builds, like I said, with Trench Barrel and 1-2 punch, it is absolutely going to dap up enemies. Third on our list is the Relentless, a high impact frame strand pulse rifle. So with this, we're going to cover the nice PvP role. First, for us, we're going with a ricochet rounds as our magazine, +5 to range, +10 to that stability. 2 options in the 3rd column for us. I'm going to go with Keep Away and Lone Wolf, kind of interchangeably, totally up to you, and a personal choice. Keep Away increases reload range, accuracy when no targets are in close proximity, so very, very nice for the Crucible. It's about 10 in range, 30 in reload, and it decreases our accuracy cone, so makes it basically bounce a little bit less, if you will, on those hits. Lone Wolf is our second option. Slightly improves aim assist, ADS speed, and airborne effectiveness. Increases these effects when no allies are nearby, so basically the same thing, if you will, just one is when no enemies are close by, the other one is when no allies are close by. So if you go off on your own, Lone Wolf might be a better option, but universally, Keep Away is probably a little bit better. I won't lie, with Relentless, I'm going to go with 3 actually in our 4th column right here. First one is Desperado. Reloading after a precision final blow increases the rate of fire. If you can get this to proc with either Keep Away or Lone Wolf, you can absolutely dap up some Guardians, but I think it's probably my 3rd choice overall. My personal number 1 choice is Head Seeker right here. Body shots landed with this increased precision damage and aim assist for a short time. Body shots landed while this perk is active refreshes the timer, so Keep Away with that Ricochet and Head Seeker are easily my favorite, and I think the most consistent out of all the roles for this Relentless in PvP. Your last option right here is Closing Time. Improves range, accuracy, and handling as the magazine gets lower. For me, I reload compulsively, so I don't get closing time to proc nearly as much as some others do, but it is very good in PvP, so definitely give it a try. But like I said, I think I would personally go with Head Seeker first in this column, then probably Closing Time and Desperado interchangeably. When we move on to the PvE side of this weapon, I'm going to go with a Pendant Mag as our magazine because it's going to give us that +6 in the magazine, basically 2 extra bursts on this high impact frame. 3 options again in the 3rd column this time for the Relentless. I'm going to go with Tear and Slice, are both very, very similar. Tear, precision final blows cause nearby targets targets to become severed, while Slice, after we cast our class ability, allows us to sever targets on hits. This is probably the better option because we don't have to get those final blows, and with something like a Hunter, Warlock, Titan, you can really throw down your Rift, Dodge, or your Barricade quite consistently, so Slice is probably the better of those two. Last but certainly not least, we got ourselves Firefly, an interesting combination on this weapon. Precision final blows increase its reload and cause targets to explode, dealing solar damage to nearby enemies. Just kind of an AoE effect that helps us with the ad clear side of this, but because of some of the perks that we have in our fourth column, I would throw this as my third choice, with Slice being number one. Fourth column, two options. I really think if you pair Slice or Tear with Pair Causal Affinity right here is probably your best option. Like I said, Slice is your best option in that third column, so Slice with Pair Causal Affinity is my 5 out of 5, but Final Blows of Energy type matching this weapons grants us damage for a short period of time. Light Final Blows boost Arc, Solar Void. Darkness Final Blows boost Stasis and Strand, and since we're getting Slice, which gives us Sever, that is a Darkness Final Blow, if you will, and this is Darkness in itself. It's just going to kind of stack on each other, giving it a very, very interesting combination of damage with the Sever that you're already getting. Your second option, in my personal opinion, is this Elemental Honing right here. Dealing unique damage grants us elemental damage, if you will. That is a stacking bonus, so for us with this elemental weapon, it's going to stack up to 35% extra damage increase, so it's a very, very good thing. At least in my opinion, 35% is quite a bit on this high impact pulse rifle, especially since if we're using Slice with it, we're getting a bunch of Sever and Strand debuffs going on, so this is going to stack up to ×5 very, very quickly. But Slice with Pair Causal Affinity is my number one choice on this for giving us the 5 out of 5 for PvE. And last but certainly not least, we got ourselves the Judgement, the Stasis 140 hand cannon. That is pretty dope in my personal opinion, but for us, for our PvP role, we're going to go with accurized rounds, of course, on this bad boy, giving us that +10 to range. We actually got three options in this third column for the PvP version of Judgement. Keep Away is our first one. Increase range, reload accuracy when no targets are in close proximity, so has that 10 range, 30 reload, and a 5% decrease in that accuracy cone, so definitely a very good option. Very similar to the Relentless Pulse Rifle, we got ourselves a Lone Wolf as another option. It is slightly improved aim assist, ADS, and airborne effectiveness. Increase these effects when there's no allies nearby, so if you're going off on your own getting those flanks, Lone Wolf might be better, but Keep Away is probably more consistent overall. And our last one, which is my personal favorite, I think this would be my 5 out of 5, is throwing on Slide Shot. Slide Shot partially reloads the magazine and gives us bonus range and stability, +20 in range and stability when we get this to proc, so you are able to do that quite often in my personal opinion, and Slide Shot reloads on top of that, so you basically never run out of ammo with this thing. Fourth column, your two options are Opening Shot, improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack. Definitely a very good option. Slide Shot with Opening Shot is like a 4.5 out of 5 in my opinion. I definitely think what y'all should be going for, though, is Precision Instrument. Dealing sustained damage increases precision damage, so Slide Shot with Precision Instrument or Keep Away with Precision Instrument are both 5 out of 5s in my opinion. I like Slide Shot a little bit better, but up to you and your gameplay style. Keep Away is probably more universal again, if you will, but definitely go with Precision Instrument in this fourth column for your 5 out of 5. Now lastly, for PvE with the Judgement here, we got two magazine options. First one is that Appended Mag, gives us +2 in the magazine, but I think your best option is Tactical Mag right here. We only get one extra shot, but we get increased to reload and stability, so it's definitely better overall in my personal opinion. Now third column, we got two options for you. Demolitionist is our first one. That kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. When we throw our grenade, it's also going to reload this from our reserves, so pretty much a staple on some PvE guns and definitely helps us out, but I do think we have one option that's better. That that option is Headstone. So Precision Final Blows spawn that stasis crystal at a victim's location, and this is definitely what I would be going for because our two options in the fourth column both play off stasis very, very well. Those two options are Paracausal Affinity as our first one. Final Blows of the energy type that matches this weapon's alignment grants us increased damage for a short period of time. So for us, Darkness Final Blows are going to boost that stasis weapon for us. Definitely is a good little increase at 20% for 6 seconds, and if we're getting damage with the weapon plus all that stasis crystals going on, stacking this up is going to be very easy. Your other option, and what I think I like the most in my opinion, is that Headstone combination with Rime Stealer right here. Destroying a stasis crystal or defeating a frozen target with this weapon grants us frost armor, so we're going to get defeats, create that stasis crystal. Defeating the stasis crystal is going to give us frost armor. Frost armor is very, very good at keeping that damage that's done to you down because it's a good like 35-40% damage decrease on you, which is absolutely disgusting in my personal opinion, basically just like Woven Mail. So this thing is really disgusting. That Tactical Mag Headstone with Rime Stealer is my go-to 5 out of 5 for this Judgment, but we got some pretty good weapons that are coming out with the Prophecy here. Definitely going to be farming it, doing the Ultimatum mode, so we can maybe get those shinies. Adept version, get all of the different rolls for it, get the double perks, get some shinies as well, but hopefully y'all can get in, grind out the Prophecy. There's a couple little different changes that you're going to hit in the encounters compared to the normal version, but definitely going to be worth it to get yourself some of these god rolls with these repriced rolls on them. So again, appreciate all you guys for always coming back to the channel. Don't be afraid to like, subscribe, slap that bell if you haven't. Helps me out, helps the channel out, plus you guys will get those notifications for all the god rolls that we put out, guides, builds, everything like that. But again, hopefully y'all are enjoying Rite of the 9, and that I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.